came out on top that day. I may have won the battle, but I certainly didn't win the war.
Oh, you got a pretty good story to tell.
What is up, everybody? And welcome back to the Schooling Struggle Podcast. It is our belief that the only guarantee in life is that we're all going to struggle, and how we choose to embrace our struggles is what empowers us to become the best versions of ourselves. How's it going? My name is Pete, coming to you from Vermont, and with me is my friend and co-host Todd, coming to you from Tacoma, Washington. What's up, Todd?
Mr. Driscoll, how's it go?
It's going well. Spent 3 hours at the urologist's office today trying to figure out what the next steps are for this kidney stone.
And what are they?
And I could right now share with you 40 minutes of all that, and I won't do that.
And I won't. And I will not.
So after a long conversation with my urologist and a bunch of ultrasounds, I basically have two options. I can go in and get another CAT scan, which will expose me a little bit more radiation to find out exactly where that thing is, or I can carry on with my life. And if something happens, I got to go to the ER. And we have a couple trips planned for the summer. I don't want to ruin any of the trips, but I'm going to roll the dice and not go with the procedure unless I absolutely need it. So I'm going to carry on as if there is no kidney stone in my body.
Perfect. Just say no to radiation. I like that.
This could be a little TMI, but she said oftentimes people that pass it without feeling it hear the loud clink of the rock in the toilet. She said, "You've never heard the loud clink of the rock in the toilet?" And I said, "No." She said, "Well, unless you pee outside all the time, I guess you'll know." I said, "I do pee outside all the time." She's like, "Oh, all right. Well, maybe you passed it."
There you go.
So
guess we'll see.
I haven't had pain for 3 weeks, and I'm just going to carry on and hope that I don't ruin any family vacations this summer with trips to the ER. But
3 hours to figure that out, huh? That could have been like a 5-minute conversation.
Well, no, that included the scans and waiting for the doctor between the scans. But
gotcha.
What's going on with you, Mr. Ellis?
Nothing. Just getting ready to head out to California for the CrossFit semifinals. Doing some volunteering down there for the greater part of a week, I suppose. And nothing. I'm enjoying my time off, getting a lot of things done. So I make myself lots of lists and I knock things out of the ballpark every day, which is fun for me. But I did a little landscaping over the weekend.
Nice.
So that was fun. Something I should have done a long time ago. It was like the Dust Bowl in my backyard. Something must be done about this. And so I went from a whole list of things I should be doing to completely switching to tearing up my yard and reseeding it. And so that's done. But yeah.
You're loving the price of grass seed right now.
Everything's expensive. So.
Yeah, but grass seed over the last 2 years has gone up like 5 times in price.
Oh, well, that's the best time to plant.
Yeah.
That's what I've been
Beautiful.
up to. Yep.
I was thinking about tonight's show for the last week, and I think last episode 55, I believe, was a pretty heavy episode where we shared some of the pain that we're dealing with and how we're navigating that pain and some of the struggle. Thought it might be fun to have a little bit of a lighthearted conversation this evening, so I decided to jump into the series, what is now known as Storytime with Mr. D.
Ooh, we should have an intro tune. Storytime with Mr. D.
And as a number of people from my school community and students listen to this podcast, I try to keep the stories family friendly, which is not easy to do because I think some of my funnier stories are not appropriate. However, I've recently learned that funny stories where you just kind of laugh and don't really learn anything from are called romps. So I'm trying to avoid romps and do true storytelling, which has a lesson or a theme to take away from the story. And I have several that I'm really excited to share during Storytime with Mr. D, which has become one of the more popular times during the school week where I share stories from my life with my students. And I decided to share tonight's story about a time when I was 12 years old. So at any point, Todd, you're welcome to interrupt, ask questions. Please ask clarifying questions if I don't give enough detail. I'm a big fan of detail. I've been researching on how to be a better storyteller, but I have a long way to go. So tighten me up if you need to.
Let's get started.
So I'm going to take you back to a 12-year-old, probably 76-pound Pete Driscoll. And I grew up in a city called Holyoke, Massachusetts. The neighborhood that I grew up in was a suburban neighborhood where there was basically a circular road that was about a mile in circumference. And then inside that circle were several homes, most of them approximately about an acre in size. So I had a little front yard, obviously the house, and then I had a backyard. And the backyard was really cool because it was a flat yard with grass, and then there were these giant bushes behind it that you could walk through. I went down 4 steps into, we had a second backyard, and my dad always referred to the second backyard as the lower 40. So the lower 40 was where like the swing set was, where our treehouse was. The grass in the lower 40 wasn't kept as nice, and there was some woods back there too. So one day during my whatever grade I was in at the time, I'm guessing somewhere in the arena of early middle school, I came home from school, and I have 2 brothers, and my mom said to the 3 of us, hop in the car, we're going to the dentist. And I knew what that meant. So backing up a little bit, at age 9 or 10, I had an episode at the dentist where the toothpaste, that like really, really gritty toothpaste, my body has an adverse reaction to that. And when it gets in my throat, it's not a very comfortable thing. So true story, at age 9 or 10, I threw up in the lap of my dentist. That stuff just got in the back of my throat, and I couldn't hold back the gag.
You mean
And
like the polish, like the polishing
yeah,
compound?
the polishing. Yep, the
Yep.
polishing stuff.
Yep.
Left a present right in my dentist's lap, and after that, going to the dentist was just a very traumatic thing for me. I truly, there wasn't anything worse in the world for me than going to the dentist.
I too hate the dentist.
And a little bit about my family's background. My dad was a stockbroker, and much of the people that gave service to us were clients of my dad. So if we were going to buy any winter clothing, we could only buy it at this one store because the manager of the winter clothing store was a client of my father. My dentist was no different. My dentist was this old guy. I'm not going to say his name in case he's still alive, but I doubt he is. And he had massive amounts of nose hair that would freak me out because back then, like, they didn't wear masks or anything. They're just, breathing over you. And he was very, very rough. And I just wasn't a big fan of this dentist. And another thing about the dynamic of my family was that what ruled my father's moods often were financially related. And I came to learn as I got a little bit older that if we missed a dentist appointment, the dentist would charge my father for all 3 of us. So this particular day, my mom calls us all to the car, and I think to myself, I'm not going to the dentist. So I run out into the backyard and I hide in the lower 40. And as a 12-year-old climbing up these giant pine trees, they may as well have been Jack and the Beanstalk trees. They may as well have been 3,000-foot trees. Who knows how high I was actually up, but I climbed up, and I could hear my mom screaming off the back porch, Peter, come get in the car. Peter, come get in the car. And I very knowingly and willingly put my mom in a really, really tough spot. So her choice was to forego bringing my 2 brothers to the dentist because I wouldn't show, or forego bringing all 3 of us to the dentist, and to get the wrath of my father when he got home from work that day. Or she had to, which I didn't think she would ever do, leave me alone and take my 2 brothers to the dentist and only eat the cost of 1 missed appointment. But I really, really hated the dentist.
Yeah.
So on this particular day, I was hiding in the backyard, and I knew that they knew where my hiding spot was. I knew she'd send my 2 brothers to try to find me. My older brother being 3 years older than me, my younger brother being 6 years younger than me, so he couldn't go very far. And I crept down the tree. I walked around the opposite side of the house where the car was parked, and I could see the 3 of them in the front yard. And my mom was facing up the road in a different direction. She had her back to me, and my mom was probably 50 to 60 yards from me. They were going to find me if I stayed in the backyard or if any of the adjacent houses. So I really needed to make a move. So when my mom was facing the other way up the road and both my brothers were facing the same way as well, I sprinted behind their backs across their front yard, across the road, and across the neighbor's front yard to get to behind the neighbor's house. And I get behind the neighbor's house, and I'm like, holy crap, I pulled this off. Because now I'm on the outside of the circle, and now I can go anywhere I want. They're not going to find me. I can just go from one backyard to another, and I'm free at this point. And I was really curious to see what my mom was going to do, but I really, really did not want to go to the dentist. So they're screaming, and I see my mom go into the next door neighbor's house. Our next door neighbor was a 80-year-old woman named Mrs. Doran, and she comes out of Mrs. Doran's house, and she gets in the car, and she drives away. And I'm like,
you're watching all this, from the
watching this happen. Yeah, we had I don't know what year it was, but one of the first Jeep Cherokees.
Mm-hmm.
She drives away in the red Jeep Cherokee, 1986 or something like that. And I'm like, holy crap, I really pulled this off. This actually worked. And they drive away, and I stay hidden, but I'm keeping an eye on the driveway because I expect my mom to come back because I figure she's searching around the neighborhood for me, going to the neighbors' houses, have my brothers check behind some of my hiding spots, go check at my friends' houses where I would play and these things. And up behind my neighbor's house across the street was this really, really steep hill. So I run up the steep hill and kind of hide in the thicket up there. And I see the car like leaving the neighborhood. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So I'm home or I'm in the neighborhood alone. I'm just hiding and my mom never comes back. And I was like, wow. I couldn't believe that it actually pulled off. It's like one of those things that you don't think you can do. And then it happens. And it's like, holy crap, this is actually happening. So I can't actually remember what I did. I think I just went and found some friends and played a couple hours later. Because when my mom took us to the dentist, it wasn't just the dentist. There was other things she'd do, which I'll tell you about in a minute. And they get home and I come home and my mom is very
She's
visibly
come
upset with
waltzing in
me.
like, oh, you guys are home.
Visibly upset with me. And I said to her, you just left me. Like, why would you do that? She's like, I left because, I wanted you to I wanted you to know that I was going to go, but I also had to keep those appointments for your brothers. And I told Mrs. Dorn that you were out in the neighborhood and that she was just going to keep an eye out for you. And Mrs. Dorn did and caught up with my mom and said, Pete's fine. He's all set. So my dad gets home and finds out what happened. My dad is furious. My dad's interesting because he had a really hot temper, but he would never lay a hand on us. And my older brother would beat me up pretty good. And I can remember my dad getting so mad at me. And he grabbed me by one arm and he picked me up and he went to hit me in the butt, like to spank. Like for all the kids out there, that was a fairly regular thing, at least when I grew up. And my friends got spanked. You get picked up by one arm, you'd be dangling by one arm, and your parent would hit you in the butt a couple times, even at age 12. And my dad just couldn't bring himself to hit me. And he just like totally like pulled up and he set me down and he was just so mad. I actually thought that was going to be the one time that he was actually going to lay a hand on me, which he never did. And then I started laughing because my older brother would beat me up so bad that I thought, my dad's really going to hurt me this time. And then he didn't. And then I was laughing because I just put fuel to the fire. Like I just made it worse. My dad's irate with my mom. My dad's irate with me. I go up to my room. Everything kind of settles down. And a couple months later, get home from school, normal day, everything's going well. My mom says, hey, I'm taking you out to ice cream. We're going out to ice cream. I'm like, oh, awesome. We go to Friendly's. Friendly's is the ice cream place where I grew up in Holyoke. Love Friendly's. Would always get the cone head. If you don't know what that is, Google it. It's pretty cool ice cream with a cone flipped up on top like a hat. And then it had Reese's Pieces to make smiley faces on it with whipped cream around to make like the hair of the head.
Very
It was
friendly.
great.
Very friendly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They didn't have Friendlies out on the West Coast, right?
No, I've never heard of
Yeah,
Friendly.
Friendlies just East Coast. Yeah,
It's like
and
a
I go
31.
to
They have is it like a Baskin Robbins? They have those over there?
almost feels like a private business,
Yeah,
not like
yeah,
a
yeah.
chain. Yeah.
Yep.
So we go to Friendlies and we're driving down Route 5 and we drive right past Friendlies. And I'm like, hey, Friendlies is right over there. My mom's like, yeah, we're going to Friendlies, but first we're going to the dentist. And I was like, oh. Debbie Driscoll, winner, chicken dinner.
Yeah.
You got me on that one. It's a short story,
The old
but
bait and switch.
the old bait and switch. Classic. Thought I was in control. Thought I had it all figured out when really I had my one shining moment and then mom put it to me
Yeah.
with her mother skills.
That's awesome. Do you guys still talk about that?
Yeah, that's come up
Yeah. That's
among
funny.
many others that I can't really share.
Yeah.
So my daughter's into a really big truth or dare phase right now. She's like, Daddy, truth or dare, truth or dare. And my Father of the Year award, I dared her to a couple months ago in bare feet walk out around the snowman and then back to the house. And there was like a layer of crust on top of the snow. So like when you step, you fell through and then it'll like cut your shins. So she's like halfway around the snowman. She starts bawling, Daddy, I can't do this. Or, I can't do this. I'm like, hey, you picked the dare. Come finish it out. And I just sat in the steps and wait for her to come back. She's crying. But she came through.
Yeah,
came through in that dare.
Okay.
So the other day, she's like, Daddy, truth or dare? I'm like, truth. She goes, tell me an inappropriate story from your childhood.
What? That's awesome.
So I told her the dentist story on how I defied the rules. Came out on top that day. I may have won the battle, but I certainly didn't win the war.
Oh, no, you got a pretty good story to tell. That's funny. It's so funny when you're talking about parents getting angry because you perfectly mistime laughter. I remember one time me and my sister used to always do the dishes. The closest sister in age to me, upward. we always get stuck doing the dishes somehow. I don't know. And we had a dishwasher, but most of the time we weren't using the dishwasher. It was one person will wash, one person will rinse, and then somebody else will dry it later. But what would happen is the person who was rinsing would always be like, "That's not clean," and throw it back into the side to get washed. So this would go on for like hours after dinner. And
Oh,
it's like, come on, like what? We're not doing this anymore. It's clean. Like, give me a break. My mom came in one time, and she was so tired of listening to us argue about if it was clean or not. She comes in, and we were getting spanked like this it was always happening in my house. So she came in and she lit my sister up, and I just started laughing. Like I was laughing so hard because it was like, finally you get what's coming to you because you started this entire thing. So I'm laughing. So my mom lays into me, and then she starts laughing. This goes back and forth like for like 3 or 5 minutes. It was just like this, like it was hysterical laughter to the point where it didn't even matter how much trouble we were in. It was just so funny to watch each other take turns. And I don't know why that made me think of that, but that was hilarious. And we talked about that all the time with my parents. I was like, remember that time? Oh yeah, it was funny. Oh, good
so,
stuff.
so it's never crossed my mind, even in my most frustrating moments, to spank my daughter. Like,
Mm,
I, in my mind, like the wiring doesn't click where if I spank her, like it's going to help anything,
yeah.
But it was a very, very common thing.
Yeah, we used to go to the
Um,
principal's office and get our get our butts kicked with a paddle. Like you go to the principal's office,
Truly,
it wasn't to get an award. You were in some deep you were
yeah.
in a pickle for sure. Yeah, I remember that in like third grade. Like you're going to the principal's
Huh.
office, it's like, oh man. And my grandpa was a teacher, and he had what my parents called the red stick. I still have it. It was like it's a stick, kind of fashioned like a sword, if you will. It's probably 2.5 feet long with a handle, and that's what he used to spank kids in his class, in his math class. They're
Isn't that
screwing around,
wild?
and that was in high school. And I'm like, what? So yeah, that used to be a thing for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I went to Catholic school. My parents were not at all Catholic. They were just nervous sending us to public schools in Holyoke. The nuns there, the sisters,
Mm.
they weren't afraid to put a hand on it. The base of your neck where your hair comes down, and like now it just turns into back hair at age 44. But when you're a kid, like your hair stops somewhere on your neck, and they would grab that little piece of hair and pull it up, and
Oof.
just like that little tug. They call that the Sister Agnes. If someone did that to you, you got Sister Agnes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Got your attention, didn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah, my poor dad, man, he got really, really upset with us a number of times, and he just couldn't bring it to him, couldn't bring it to lay a hand on us. But following that story, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
It's my experience that people will often find something when being raised that absolutely drove them crazy about their parents, and swore to themselves like, "Oh, my parents did this. I'll never do that."
Yeah.
However, on the flip side, the stuff you weren't super cognizant of, now that I'm older, I find myself being like my parents in those arenas. And I have this generalized thought that everyone says, "Oh, the people that raised me, there's a couple things that they did. I'll be sure never to do those." And they don't do those, but then they catch themselves being like their parents in other arenas. And I guess my question for you is, do you have any of those that come to mind that you think of?
No, I don't think that there's any that I think I don't think I've escaped any of them. Like I never thought to myself. I mean, I definitely obviously thought to myself, "Oh, I'll never do that," right? But I was never able to pull it off. So, you know what I mean? Like I didn't
Yeah.
intentionally not do the thing, but I remember thinking, "I'll never do that." But clearly, I did that at some point. So yeah, but I think that's a universal rule. Like there are people that I'll never do. Like for example, your dad, right? Like
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But
My
yeah,
dad completely lost his mind if an appliance broke. Like that was like the worst. It's funny when I tell people that because I still get nervous about appliances breaking, and people just chuckle. They're like, "What?" Because my dad didn't know how to fix anything, and so when an appliance broke, it was like the most stressful thing that I can remember.
because of
And
cost, like it's gonna cost $1 million to fix this thing.
it cost $1 million. Yes,
Yeah,
yeah, to fix this $85 dishwasher. Yeah,
right,
back in the '80s.
right.
I And I vowed to myself, you will not flip out if something happens to an appliance in
Huh.
front of your kid, because I don't want my kid to have that stress that I had.
Oh, yeah. No, my
And then,
parents are pretty level-headed. Yeah, I didn't have anything like that.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah, I also truly I grew up thinking we were poor, and we were
Not.
very, very comfortable. Looking back, I didn't realize it, but my dad was really had a hard time if we left any lights on. My dad had this unbelievably uncanny ability to be on the second floor in his bedroom and sense if a light was on in the basement.
Mm.
Like he just had this sixth sense to know who left a light on in the basement. Like as he's falling asleep, how'd you know a light was on in the basement? So yeah, we had to have lights off. The house was kept at around 55 degrees, and it was always a battle with my mom and my dad to turn the heat up, turn the heat down. And then the other one was super, super short showers. Like my brother would be in the shower for 3 minutes. My dad would be pounding the door. Get out of the shower. Get out of the shower.
I'm that guy. Yeah. Yeah. There is one thing actually that I remember, and people think it's very strange. My parents censored the hell out of everything I listened to music wise
Mine couldn't have been more opposite.
until I was like, when I heard probably Ice Cube or the Ghetto Boys, the early 90s rap that was just unfiltered, just raw, like every expletive you could think of. I would listen to it and they would take my tapes and throw them in the garbage, or they would hide them. And I was like, I will never. When my kids were forever, I play whatever I want because I look at music as it's art. And some people are like, I can't believe that your kids listen to that. I was like, I don't really care what you think, because I feel like I lost something in my childhood, which I really didn't, but I felt like that was why would you do that? Like, it's just, you know what I mean? So that's really the only one I can think of. Yeah. I do not censor music at all. So
no, it's interesting. Yeah, I have friends that are the same way with that. And I grew up listening to all that stuff.
With no problem. Your parents are like, whatever you want to listen to, go for it.
Yeah, they didn't censor. They didn't ever really hear it. It's not like I played it like in front of them.
Yeah.
But like up in my room, whatever. Yeah, I played NWA, Ice Cube, Dre, Snoop, all of it. But I definitely censored a little bit more for my daughter than they did for me.
Yeah. So, is that because of you, or is that because of like you and Jen figured that out? Like, does she play a role in that, or is that just because you're like, that's it's a little abusive for young kids to be listening to that?
Yeah, the last thing that you just said, and it's also in Jen's, the way she was raised, and I also think it's, you could argue nature and nurture all day, but the way the type of person that she is, wouldn't be comfortable with my daughter hearing that.
Yeah.
Even though she might view it as art. Yeah. That's really interesting. Yeah. Yeah, I feel like we all have that thing.
Yeah, for sure.
That one of our parents did.
It's a hard one to think of, though. Like
long distance phone calls too.
Oh,
that was
half
the people listening to this will have no clue what I'm talking about.
Zero.
When I say you had to pay per minute for long distance phone calls.
Yeah. Remember calling cards?
Oh yeah.
You'd go to the payphone and you'd have to dial in 9,000 numbers just to like
1-800-COLLECT. I use that all the time. I made a VCR reference in class today, and I was just curious to know how. I had a couple of students who remember having a VCR in their house, but not very many.
Did you bust out Beta and see if they knew that one? Remember the Beta? The tape was like the size of a modern day laptop. You're like, what is that?
We never had that.
Oh man, the Laserdisc too was an interesting one.
Yeah, so my mom got me on that one. I'll give her credit. She was pretty creative, and so then after that, it was. Every time we were going out I was always on guard, right? We're going out to eat. We're going out to ice cream. I mean, I knew we only went to the dentist twice a year, so I had a little bit of time.
You're like, is this it? The 6
months? Yeah. We're going to my favorite restaurant. Oh,
no.
Yeah.
After the dentist.
Keep me on edge.
What's your so aside from the polishing paste incident, like, do you still hate the dentist?
Still get pretty anxious when I go to the dentist.
Oh man,
I'm good with the rest of it. So if I had like Tom Brady income, I would definitely have a personal masseuse. And my favorite thing at the dentist is laying back and when they have the rubber gloves on when they floss your teeth.
Yeah.
If I had money to throw away, I'd pay someone to come floss my teeth every day. I just love the feeling.
You'd have yourself a private flosser. Is that right?
My dentist to try to ease things up on me, or the hygienist would say, no, it's just a bunny jumping from in between tooth to tooth. The bunny's just hopping, hop, hop, hop. And now whenever they floss my teeth, I think of that. Oh, this is just a floss bunny jumping in between my teeth.
Wow. Well, I feel like that could be a bumper sticker right there.
But the polishing still, like if it gets in the back of my throat, I'll certainly gag. But the way that they rinse stuff out now, and like
it's way different. Yeah.
The technology is just so different.
Yeah,
before it was just mass amounts of that stuff, and they wouldn't rinse it out till it was all done. And there was before there were flavors, so it was like menthol. Like it was so bad.
Yeah, the person with they used to give you the sucker, like the suction tube. Remember that? And you like get stuck on the side of your face, and you're just like. Blah.
I feel like every time I go to the dentist now, there's some upgrade in technology. Like it wasn't the
Totally.
same as it was 6 months ago.
No way. Yeah, they're definitely
Yeah, I guess that
making
makes
like
sense.
I hate the dentist. Cannot stand the dentist. Like last time I went to the dentist, I had a filling. Actually, I had two fillings I had to get done. And I put it off for years because I was like, hate. And the dentist is like, everything okay? We're just gonna do these fillings. And I was like, you need to know that I dislike needles greatly. He's like, what do you mean? I was like, you're gonna find out. And so he didn't do it because it used to be the dentist who put the needle in there, and now it's
Yeah,
just the hygienist, like whoever cleans
yeah,
your teeth ahead of time.
yeah.
She's like, okay, well, I'm going to numb you up. And I was like, okay, well, I told you guys. And I almost passed out. Like, I cannot
Oh,
stand the needle. Like, I just feel the anxiety rush, and then I just start sweating profusely. And I almost, like, I was on the verge of like, yeah, she's like, wow, you really don't like needles. I was like, yeah, I've told you that I really don't like needles. If you had your private flosser, I'd have my anesthesiologist at the dentist
for the
just
dentist.
put me under.
I think I heard that the single biggest extender of the human life is a dentist, because the large majority of people that died back in the day, like
Yeah,
like when the lifespan was 30 and 40, was related to abscess
yeah,
teeth or
yep,
teeth issues.
yep.
So once we got the dental thing figured out, we like almost doubled our lifespan,
It's amazing, but still,
which is really
just
fascinating.
say no to needles.
When my daughter was 2, our house got invaded by bats. Super long story. I should share that sometime. But anyway, at one point there was over 30 bats inside our house.
What?
And we just checked in with the doctor to see if there's any protocol. And they're like, yeah, if you have an infant or a young kid in the house, it's covered by insurance. And the protocol is that you'll have to come in for rabies shots. You get your rabies series.
Uh-huh.
And we were like, yeah, but none of us touched a bat or got bit by a bat. They're like, it doesn't matter, especially with a young kid in the house. You need to follow the protocol. So for, I believe it was, don't quote me on this, but I think it was 3 weeks, once a week, we all had to go in, and your shot, like the number of shots you got depended on your weight. But at the age of 2, my daughter had one in the thigh, one in the other thigh, one in
Ugh.
the arm, one in the other arm. So basically 12 shots in 3 weeks. And
Wow.
that was it. Like she saw needles. I had to get twice that. I had to get 2 in each arm, 2 in each leg each time.
Yeah. Does she still not? I don't mind needles. Well, I can't say that, but like if I can see it, I'm okay. Like, if you put it in my arm or whatever, and it's not like it hurts because I get blood drawn all the time and it doesn't bother me at all. But
Yeah.
if I can't see it, like if you go
Oh,
into my mouth, I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Wait.
oh, see, you and I are the exact opposite. I don't even look at the needle when I
Oh,
go in. I just look the other way. I never even see the needle.
oh well.
Yeah.
I don't.
It's
Yeah. Yeah,
fascinating.
and I give my wife
Yeah.
shots of vitamins, and I don't. It doesn't bother me a bit. Like it's fine.
But you have like syringes of vitamins that you like.
She takes like a B vitamin because she's anemic, and I just stuff it right in her arm. It's like no big deal. But
How often do you have to do that?
every 2 weeks.
Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, she's a nurse, so she tells me how to do it. But so like I'm like, so,
Find the vein.
yeah, like yeah. But yeah, interesting points. Good story time with Mr. D. I like that. We're gonna have to hear the bats. Write the bats down. We're gonna have to
A little
hear that
bit.
one.
Yeah. It's funny. Often the stories are short, and sometimes they just don't have a lesson or anything to be learned from it.
I see.
But I think there was something to be learned from this story.
Yeah. What was it?
Yeah.
Don't hide from your parents because they're always going to get one over on you on the way to.
Mom has the last word.
Yeah. Parents are pretty tricky. They can be pretty smart sometimes.
Well, to all the listeners out there, thanks for joining us for this short episode. We appreciate your ears. We thank you for your time. We hope that we were able to lighten the mood a little bit for you this evening. We are incredibly grateful for your attention. We are the School and Struggle Podcast. Story time with Mr. D. We are out.
See ya.